All right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, we are talking about Cha-Cha Real Smooth, the second feature from Cooper Raiff, whose film Shithouse we covered on the podcast back in the middle of the pandemic, the never-ending pandemic. But it was a really fun discovery in the middle of that time just spent at home, just finding these new weird indie films, and ended up on, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Josh Bell, Jason Harris, and we always do the end of the year top 10 episode, and I think it was the only movie that was on all three of our top 10s. If not, it was mentioned on all three of our top 10s. We all loved it. That's what I'm trying to say. And Cooper Raiff is back with a new movie, Cha-Cha Real Smooth. It's on Apple TV Plus. And joining me to talk about it is Daniel Howat from Next Best Picture. And we have a great time talking about it. And that's coming up here in a second. So before we get to the conversation, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you're subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or on Podchaser or Good Pods, where they recently have released per episode discussion forums. So if you listen to this episode and you think we missed some puzzle pieces, you could just comment right there and let us know about what puzzle pieces we missed. Definitely do that. We'd love to hear from you. And you could also, of course, follow us on social media at Piecing Pod and get in touch there. And join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about everything going on in movies nowadays. And last but not least, I got to mention our Patreon. We do have the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus content from Piecing It Together, Awesome Movie Year, and from my music career. Speaking of my music career, I just finished scoring a film, and I believe at the time that this is going up, it's premiering tonight. So, I'll let you guys know how that went next week. But, I'm going to have some new music on the Patreon soon. You can check it out. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. So, let's go talk about Cha-Cha Real Smooth. All right, we've got Daniel Howat back with us to talk about Cha-Cha Real Smooth. Daniel, you cha-chaing over there?
I am cha-chaing, and look, let me tell you, it's pretty smooth.
It is. That's one thing I would say if I was describing you, but maybe in the intro I'll do it, maybe I'll say this guy is coming up on the show, he's going to be talking about this movie. He's a smooth cat.
Wow. I'm honored. Thank you. But to be honest, no one has ever described my dancing that way. So I just have to confess that to you, but yeah.
That's why we're movie podcasters.
Right.
But we said last time you were on the show, you'd be back for Cha-Cha Real Smooth. I'm happy that we're actually doing it. And yes. I'm happy the movie lived up. I mean, I told you I loved Shithouse, his last movie. We covered it on the show last year. And I had been looking forward to seeing what he would do next. I'll just get this out of the way, right up front before we start getting into puzzle pieces. I think I like Shithouse a little more.
Okay.
But I'm still super excited to see. I think he's such an interesting filmmaker, writer, and performer as an actor as well. Really an exciting person in independent film right now. And overall though, this movie really lived up to what I was hoping for.
I can't remember if I said this because I plugged Cha-Cha Real Smooth on the Turning Red episode. I don't remember if I had said this, but I actually hadn't watched Shithouse at that time. I actually only watched it last week for the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's funny. I don't know if you like Shithouse better. I like Cha-Cha Real Smooth better. I don't know if it's because that was the one we saw first. I don't know.
Possibly.
They are remarkably similar. They're different in a lot of ways, but kind of the voice, his voice is clear in both of them, I feel like.
Absolutely clear and totally present in both of them. You really get a sense of who this kid is. It'll be interesting going through some puzzle pieces here. I mean, I feel like this is a kind of movie that we've seen before, but at the same time, we haven't seen it from Cooper Raiff. We haven't seen it from this particular point of view, and especially this particular generation. I think that he kind of whether he wants to or not, I think he probably does to a degree, is kind of representing a new generation, and that's part of what makes his movies interesting.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, that's part of what I, in notes for some of the pieces that I put together. That's part of it. But I mean, this. I don't know where his age. I don't know where the generation dividing line is, either Gen Z or millennial. But he's right on the line either way, and we've all got that anxiety. I'm only a few years older than him, and there's that anxiety that we all have, and I think he comments on it in really simple yet really effective ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's start getting into some puzzle pieces, and we'll get into everything that's working and not working and everything else about this movie along the way. But what do you got for your first piece?
So I'll go with my most obvious one, or what I think is the most obvious one, right up front. It's The Graduate.
Sure.
I think, The Graduate is sort of the OG quarter-life crisis movie, and and few have done it better than The Graduate. Obviously, it's a classic. It's one of the best of all time. And I definitely see pieces of that in Cha-Cha Real Smooth. It's this young dude coming home from college, feeling aimless. He develops an attachment for an older woman. Obviously, the nature of their relationships is quite different, but so many coming of age movies are about kids or teens, and I love those sorts of movies. But I think the early 20s is one of the most formative times in many people's lives, and right after college, there's just this angst, this what's next, where am I going, what am I going to do, who am I going to become, and I think both. The Graduate and Cha-Cha Real Smooth, in their own very different ways, vastly different generations, comment on it really, really well. So that's why I picked The Graduate.
Yeah, no, it's on my list as well. Absolutely. It's funny, not on my list, but I think is worth bringing up anyway is Garden State. Which I feel like, that for the early 2000s, that's Zach Braff trying to make his The Graduate. And now we've got this moment, we get Cooper Raiff trying to make his The Graduate. And there's so many comparisons that could be made there between the younger guy, older woman, the aimlessness, the trying to find your place, and that angst that, really, I think, like you said, every generation feels it in maybe slightly different ways, but it's always there for everybody. So yeah, great first piece to throw in there. I'll go with my first piece, which is going to be Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation. Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson as just these two people who meet each other at a point in their lives that they have such a great connection, but it's just not the right time, and this is all they're going to get out of their relationship is this moment that we're seeing. And it's sad, but at the same time, it's great that they even got to have that moment. And I think that's what makes the movie special is seeing these two people having that together, even if that's basically all that's going to be.
That's good. That didn't occur to me, but I really like that a lot. That's what I love, the relationship in Cha-Cha Real Smooth. Like, what I think he did really well is that I really wanted them to be together. Do we get into spoilers here? Sorry.
Sure. Spoil away.
Yeah, I really wanted them to get together, and I think the movie crafts it in such a way that it does a really good bait and switch where it makes us believe that it's that type of movie. This is just a romantic comedy, and it's going to be a happy ending, and it is a happy ending, but not at all what you think it's going to be. And I think Lost in Translation is a very interesting comparison there. Yeah. Right
on. And and I'll just add one more thing there, but as to the ending and as to where they're going, like you said, it's such a crowd pleasing movie, but at the same time, you're still pleased and happy, even though the guy doesn't get the girl, and the guy's still basically aimless.
He is
just maybe just a little bit better off than he was before.
I love that. I think the moment when what's his name, Joseph, the fiance, comes to the car toward the end and just like thanks him for loving his family, like knocked me out, because you think that's about to be a very different altercation, and he just thanks him. And it's like,
by the way, that guy is great. Raul Castillo. I've only seen him in a few things. He was in that We the Animals, which was just he's so good in that. And he's becoming one of those that guy actors.
He's a good detached asshole. He's not an asshole in this movie, but he's just detached enough to where you think he's an asshole, and then you kind of realize, oh no, that's just Andrew. Andrew thinks he's an asshole. That's it.
Sure.
And he's actually a fine person.
Yeah.
So, that was I think that's really well written. That's a good pick.
So what do you got for your next one?
Okay, so one that really randomly popped in my head as I was thinking about this was Leave No Trace from 2018.
Okay.
I was thinking about Andrew's relationship with everybody in his life, but especially his family. And he has this like make happy complex. He's like there to like care for the people in his life. Like he feels compelled to care for Domino. You get this sense when they talk about his mom's like bipolar episodes or kind of, we don't know a lot of what happened there.
Sure.
You get this sense of Andrew as this like, he feels the need to protect and need to like stand up for or whatever for all the people in his life. He does it for
Lola.
He stands up for Lola throughout. And so I thought about Leave No Trace, wildly different movie, but it has Thomasin McKenzie's character, Tom, as again, this like, she's the adult in the relationship. She is the caretaker of her father, who's not doing well at taking care of her and putting her in bad situations. And it just kind of weighs on her. And so I think it weighs on her in so many different ways than Andrew and Cha Cha Real Smooth. But I don't know. I just saw this relationship there between these two films of this children feeling this pressure to care for the people in their lives.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. I definitely wouldn't have thought of that one, but that is really interesting because that kind of relationship with a parent, like that's going to continue. Like you're not going to just have to take care of your parent and then not take that with you into other relationships going forward. And that character that Thomasin McKenzie plays, and then this character that Cooper Raiff plays, they're both, you could tell that like that's just going to be a part of them going forward.
Yeah,
like
and obviously Andrew is a very privileged kid. Like, he's not in a bad situation like Tom is in Leave No Trace. But I still see those hints, like that beautiful scene he has with his mom toward the end where he just feels compelled to say, hey, I had a really happy childhood and I look fondly back on those years, whatever he says. And that scene just knocks me out. It feels like minor in the movie, but that scene, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a dad now, but it just like knocks me out. How simple what he says is, and just how meaningful it is. And Leslie Mann is so good. She's so good at tearing up at just the right moments. So
sure. Yeah. No, she's great. She is. I will go with my next piece, which to me, I feel is the most obvious one, and that's The Wedding Singer. Adam Sandler, 98. I mean, you got this kind of dorky Jewish dude who, instead of a wedding singer, is a Jewish party starter at a bar mitzvah, and they're both at very different times in our lives when we meet them, but they're both very emotional and sensitive and not really great at being in love with people, kind of guys that really need to do some growing up, and while everything else goes in different directions story-wise, the characters themselves, I think, are pretty close.
You're right. I haven't seen The Wedding Singer in years, so that's why it didn't pop out to me. But you're exactly right. Those are remarkably similar.
The Wedding Singer is so good, and I haven't seen it in a long time either. It's on my rewatch list to like get that back in again sometime soon because it's just so good, and it's dark and it's weird, and it's just it's the best I think of early Sandler.
Oh, absolutely. It's when he was one of his most earnest roles, which I really like. Yeah,
absolutely. So what do you got next?
So one that's less thematically attached to Cha Cha Real Smooth, but just some character connections. That's The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Sure.
For obvious reasons. Both films feature Dakota Johnson caring for a person with special needs, and the male lead of that movie goes on a journey of discovery. And what I love about both movies is their portrayal of the person with special needs is kind of quietly like revolutionary.
Sure.
Zach, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Gottsagen in The Peanut Butter Falcon.
I think that's right.
And then Vanessa Burghardt in Cha Cha Real Smooth. They're both excellent actors. Not great performers like with an asterisk. They're great in their roles. And the movies don't just use them for like window dressing. They're really vital contributors to the story. And so I just found that really interesting that Dakota Johnson has done two of those in pretty close succession, two similarly driven stories, and both really successfully, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, Dakota Johnson is so good. She's just really, really great, and it's weird because a lot of her movies I feel like they don't get enough attention. Like we're recording this right before Cha Cha Real Smooth comes out. I mean, critics have been loving it, but we'll see how general audiences respond to it once it's
a small
out.
movie,
but
yeah,
it's a smaller movie, Apple TV and all that. But yeah, I mean, she's just great though, and these movies that she's been doing have been so interesting. And the Peanut Butter Falcon is fantastic, and yeah, the way that it does like real, genuine representation, and like you said, it's not like just an asterisk great performance. It really is, and yeah, this girl, I think it's her first role, and she does a great job.
Yeah. And I think Cooper has talked about in interviews how he for some of their scenes together, he really considered Dakota Johnson like a co-director. Like some of their chemistry was just them figuring the scene out as they go. And I think, for somebody who really truly got big from, something like the 50 Shades of Grey movies, not known for their quality, she's really making a great career out of just these really naturalistic, quiet roles. And I think she's really killing it.
Yeah. It must be intimidating to be like a Cooper Raiff and acting against her. that must be kind of tough, I'd imagine. But...
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. I'll go for my next piece, and this is more of a grouping of films, Duplass brothers films in general, or maybe even just the whole entire mumblecore, genre. I guess if I was going to pick like a specific movie, maybe Jeff Who Lives at Home. I couldn't pick like specifically which ones I wanted to go with. It's really more of just a vibe, you know what I mean? That kind of indie, just kind of hangout, like cool character who's doesn't have it all together kind of thing, which they really excel at in their movies. And I'm sure that the Duplass brothers are some of the kind of independent film directors that Cooper Raiff probably looks up to, at least from the last generation.
Well, do you know the story about the connection to the Duplass brothers?
I don't actually. Is there like a specific one?
Yeah. So Jay Duplass is the reason Cooper Raiff kind of got his career kickstarted.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So your puzzle piece is right on. Yeah. So for Shithouse, he made on his own like a 50-minute short film that was roughly the same story as Shithouse, and he tweeted it to Jay Duplass and said something to the effect of, "I bet you won't click this link," or something like that. Or bet you won't watch my short, or something like that. And he did watch it, and then they met up, and like he gave him a lot of feedback, encouraged him to make it a feature, and kind of he didn't actually have a credit on Shithouse, but like it sounds like he kind of produced the movie a little bit from afar.
Right.
So yeah, I think you made the exactly right choice there.
That's awesome. That is great. I love that. And I mean, the Duplass brothers, they have their hands in so much stuff when it comes to independent film. I mean, that makes so much sense that they'd be there, right there for this next generation of smaller independent filmmakers. So that's great.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
So what do you got next?
All right, so this is my last one that I have here, and it's Almost Famous.
Sure.
So, much like Andrew and Cha Cha Real Smooth, Williams, like, he's fully ready to be grown. He's younger than Andrew. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a little while since I've seen it. I think he's still, like, barely in high school.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And he's pretending to be an adult. And so I think what's funny is that he's a kid actually pretending to be an adult. And I almost feel like Andrew and Cha Cha Real Smooth is an adult pretending to be more grown. Like, he wants to be in his 30s, 40s, settling down, marry Domino, take care of their kid, and like happily ever after. But in reality, he's like 22, and so
working at meat sticks.
Yes. But then they both get hypnotized by these women, who in a lot of ways I wouldn't say Domino's like a manic pixie dream girl like Kate Hudson's character in Almost Famous, but they do kind of just represent this like unattainable thing in both films, and in both characters really become convinced that they're supposed to be together. And when like you described for Lost in Translation, it's really just this moment in time that they're supposed to cross paths, and then they're going to move on to bigger and better things. So, I thought that was very much the coming of age that really fit Cha Cha Real Smooth.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. And I like we were just saying, like this movie, it's not out to the general public yet. We're not sure how it's going to be received, but I feel like that Manic Pixie Dream Girl comment, like that's, I'm worried that some people might think that about
Yeah.
this relationship, and it's not. Like
It's
I do
not.
think it's like a totally realized character, but I do think that that's like where maybe people won't, or maybe just the feel good thing. People don't like feeling good sometimes.
Yeah, I do think you're right. I think because I think Twitter's dumb, so it's going to be one of those things where so many critics love it, so there's going to be people who hate it. But
Yeah.
I would understand if somebody just does a really surface level reading of Cha Cha Real Smooth. I could
Mhm.
understand why you would say Manic Pixie Dream Girl, but I agree with you. That's not right. Like Domino really is a very fleshed out character.
Yeah.
It almost needs a new term because it's really just this character, like I said, that represents something unattainable to Andrew. Like I wonder how fleshed out Domino is to Andrew, or is she just this this ideal that he wants to go after? He wants to settle down. I don't know. I mean,
Sure.
maybe she is a fully fleshed out character, like person in his mind. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to say, and especially at the moment that he's in, it's like it's kind of, and he is, the narrator. I mean, it's his movie, 100%. So, like, yeah, what she represents, to that point, I'll go to another piece. I've got two more pieces here, but this is, it's like a Sundance type thing, and that kind of speaks to that same kind of a vibe that some people just kind of, I don't know, shy away from, I guess. But I thought of Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Oh, so good.
Oh,
I love
it's
that
great.
movie.
It's such a great movie, and just about these people that are kind of either broken or sad, or there's something that's just not right, that are all finding each other, and that's kind of the vibe I get here. That's really what it's all about, and that kind of goes back to the Lost in Translation piece. It's just a feeling of these people that need that connection, and they find that connection in this very particular moment. And yeah, I agree. I love that movie too.
I haven't seen that in far too long. I might not have seen it since like 2015 when it came out. I mean,
Yeah,
but I love that movie a lot. It's a good pick.
awesome. My last piece, this one could have probably gone along with the Duplass brothers, but Bob Byington's Seven Chinese Brothers. Have you seen this?
I have not. I'm not even sure if I've heard of it.
Okay, yeah, not a lot of people have seen it from what I've gathered, but I love this movie so much. It stars Jason Schwartzman. I actually just guested on the Caged In podcast, Caged In Coppola Connections, talking about this movie. I picked it as like my pick to talk about because I love it so much, and it's just about this just kind of lovable, depending on your point of view, kind of wisecracking, kind of losery guy who's probably pretty depressed, probably doesn't have very high aspirations for himself, and is just he kind of this isn't giving anything away. His kind of goal is at one point to get his job back at like an auto repair shop. Like that's it. Like that's the end of his goals, And he spends his whole time just joking with people and not taking anything serious. And you can imagine how that would be quite grating for some people, but if you get it and you dig that kind of sense of humor, it's a really great movie, and Jason Schwartzman is so good in it, and it's it's definitely got that same kind of a vibe like the Duplass brothers, and that's what a lot of Bob Byington's other films are like as well.
Yeah, I mean, from your description, I can definitely see the relation between that and Cha Cha Real Smooth and Andrews. Yeah, he's not. I think a lesser version of this movie would be that Andrew's character would be like a wannabe filmmaker, or like some super high lofty goals.
Sure.
No, he just wants to work at this local nonprofit down the street, like that he can walk to from his house.
Yeah, the bearded guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that's great that it's very grounded and realistic in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So our puzzle pieces we talked about are The Graduate, Lost in Translation, Leave No Trace, The Wedding Singer, The Peanut Butter Falcon, the Duplass Brothers films, Almost Famous, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and Seven Chinese Brothers. And we squeezed Garden State in there too. Why not?
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, no, I mean, a lot of that coming of age, a lot of that, just a moment in time for a kind of person kind of movie. I think this just fits in so well with that stuff. Are there any closing thoughts you had on Cha Cha Real Smooth, stuff we didn't get to while going through pieces?
No, I really was trying to look for like Arrested Development characters, like these kids, like adults who, are kind of stuck where they are. I feel like there's movies that are like right on the tip of my tongue that I just couldn't get there as puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
But no, I'm in love with this movie. I think this is like if I could boil a movie genre down, like all the way down, hyper specific. This is it. Like this whole, quarter life crisis. I'm in. I relate. I have gone through my quarter. I am in my quarter life crisis. I'm there
right now.
and the gentle comedy. It's not like this isn't like a massive laugh out loud comedy, even though there are really funny moments. But yeah, I'm really into it. I'm really into this movie a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm really excited. I think he did a TV show is coming up next. Is that
I saw
right?
that, and then he's got a movie called The Trashers. With David Harbour, I believe, that he's not going to be acting in. So it'll just be his first one, just directing and writing.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Because I mean, like you said, Shithouse does share a lot in common with this, so it'll be interesting to see him, branching out and doing something a little bit different. So I'm very excited to see how that comes together. But yeah, no, this was great.
Yeah, I asked him about that. I got to talk to Cooper. He said that he's very excited to not act in a movie. Like, that he's very much excited for that. He's like, no, I want to write and direct it. I'm in. So
nice.
I asked him if it would be weird. He's like, no, not gonna be weird. It's gonna be great.
That's awesome. Well, last time you were on, we were talking Pixar. We were talking Turning Red, and this weekend we've got this on Apple TV Plus, and we've got Lightyear in theaters. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, people will actually watch Turning Red finally, and and then also watch this while they're at it. So,
yes, absolutely.
So awesome. Was there any movies you watched recently that you'd like to recommend to our listeners, Daniel?
So can I cheat and do a TV show?
Go for it. Let's do it.
Okay, great. I'm one episode away from finishing Made. It's from last year, so this is not a very recent thing. It's from like last October. But I'm just blown away by it. It's on Netflix. Margaret Qualley playing a young mom who like is kind of escaping an abusive situation and just basically struggling as a single mom trying to care for her kid and being broke. And it kind of is as depressing as it sounds, but it's like, it's real. That's a very, unfortunately, very real story. And I think this show does a really good job of keeping it light for as serious as the content is, but keeping it light and not really shying away from the gravity of it either. So I'm super impressed with Margaret Qualley. The show has been really like sticking with me, like sticking in my brain. That's why I wanted to cheat and have it as a show, because I'm like, It's just stuck in my brain right now.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard great things about it, and Margaret Qualley is awesome. I mean, I've only seen a few things with her so far, but I mean, everything, she's been great. So definitely have to check that out. Awesome. Daniel, why don't you tell people where they can find you and everything you're up to?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at HowatDK. That's HOWATDK.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for joining me. I'm glad we were able to make this one happen, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get you back again sometime soon.
That'd be great. I love it.
On the Vintage Video Podcast, we'll be reviewing every single wide release of the 1980s in chronological order. Over 250 episodes to enjoy and thousands more to come. John enters the store now to order another can of ether. I picture him outside like Homer with the gasohol.
One for you, one for me.
I also like to think about that the kids renew their vow not to talk about the murder
by murdering someone.
They're taking a blood oath with someone else's blood.
This stuff is 7 times more powerful than uranium. And they open up the vault that it's contained in, not wearing any kind of protective gear.
Yeah.
And it's wooden crates.
It's like the guys in Chernobyl picking up the graphite rocks and going, nah, because there's rocks.
Hugging the elephant foot. Just like, oh, this thing's smooth.
It's so warm.
He turns to dial the number from the classified ad without even thinking about the numbers. We know this because we can hear his thoughts, and he's talking about how AJ was right that ninjas are misdirecting him.
They're misdirecting.
I really wish that he'd turn to the phone and been like, 665. No, that's two fives. Vintage Video. We're rewatching the 80s so you don't have to.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Thank you to Daniel Howat for joining me on that one. Cha-Cha Real Smooth is great. You should go watch it if you haven't yet. It's on Apple TV+. And also check out Shithouse and listen to the episode that Jason Harris and I did on that back in 2020. That is a great movie as well. Very excited to see what else Cooper Raiff does. So, if you enjoyed the conversation, make sure to let us know. We'd love to hear from you. You can rate and review us over on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or Spotify or Good Pods. And if there's a 5-star button, we would really appreciate it if you hit the 5-star button and maybe leave a little review. You could also drop in the comments there over on Good Pods. Let us know if we missed any puzzle pieces you think we should have brought up, or just whatever else you think about what we're doing here on Piecing It Together. Also, follow us on social media at PiecingPod. Join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces. Don't forget to check out piecingpod.com, my website, where I, of course, post all the episodes, but there's also other stuff on there, too. Links to all the guest appearances I've done on other podcasts, and I think there's other stuff, too. There's probably other stuff. Check it out, piecingpod.com. You should check that out. We also have that produced by David Rosen Patreon. I told you about it at the top of the show, but I'll quickly mention it again. We have a bunch of advanced episodes of Piecing It Together on there right now. We're about to post a new Awesome Movie Year bonus episode on there. And I just finished scoring a film, so I'm finally going to be able to dedicate some more time to getting some new music ready to post on there, some stuff that's going to be exclusive to the Patreon. So that is going up very soon. So again, it's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. Lots of great content. Check it out. And speaking of music, let's close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And whenever I'm covering a movie that's very Jewy, like Cha-Cha Real Smooth, I do use it as an opportunity. Instead of playing one of my instrumental tracks, I play something from my old Jewish comedy rap group, Fakakta. So I'm going to play Bubstep to close us out today. Hope you enjoy Bubstep. It's from the album U Tuchus for Granted. We'll be back and more Piecing It Together real soon.
Bubstep, come on, Bubby, you can do it. Get up off your ass, come on and shake that booty. It's time to get down and tear off the floor. Don't forget to take it out of and live the tour. You got the rest of your life to play words with friends. So tonight we're gonna party until the world ends. DJ IBDOG on the ones and twos. So I mix a load of vodka into the fruit juice.
You take a bus to the mall. You don't wanna fall.
Bubstep, get the fuck up.
Osteoporosis, a crappy diagnosis.
Bubstep, get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. Bubstep, get the fuck up. I was raised by Jews, from my bubby to my Jew mom. So when I go to the club, I always have to use a Groupon. This party right here is off the hook. Everybody in the club tonight is mashbuka. If you're over 70 and this is your song, everybody in the house, come on and sing along. This is Bubstep, it's the best song yet. When we're done, we'll go home and we can Netflix and kvetch.
Rolling in your scooter, don't understand computers.
Bubstep, get the fuck up.
Vodka in your prune juice, you know it's time to let loose.
Bubstep, get the fuck
All
up.
my septuagenarians, octogenarians in the cafeteria. Hope you're not vegetarian, cause the special is meatloaf. Go to the salon and get your style on. All my sexy ladies, my Sylvias and Sadies. You know you're Miss Independent Living.
Bubstep,
Honey, that velour tracksuit is so forgiving.
Bubstep, get the fuck up.
Help, I've fallen.
Get the fuck up.
I can't hear you.
Get the fuck
You take a
up.
bus to the mall. You don't wanna fall.
Bubstep, get
All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.